Boss of my brain. Statement of ownership for boss of my brain. I am boss of my brain, and I have complete control over each thought I create. Because I am boss of my brain, I can change my thoughts at any time. No one has control over my thoughts because only I am boss of my brain. Repeat this week's statement of ownership as often as possible. Before you get out of bed, before your meals, during a break, and before sleeping. Write this statement for added emphasis. Your weekly statement of ownership reinforces this week's tool. Weeks to study boss of my brain are first week of January, first week of April, first week of July, first week of October. Key words for boss of my brain. The three parts. There are three parts that matter. Smart part, emotional part, and old habit part. Which one is the boss right now? Objective for boss of my brain. Your goal with this week's tool is to learn that you have a choice in how your brain thinks. You can smart think, emotional think, or you can old habit think. You are the boss of how you think, and you will learn how to be the boss with this week's tool called Boss of My Brain. Tool intro for Boss of My Brain. Did you know that Gogi believes there are only three parts of your brain you need to understand? At Gogi, we focus on three parts of your brain. The three parts are the smart part, the emotional part, the old habit part. How to use Boss of My Brain. If you want to use the Gogi tool called Boss of My Brain, all you need to do is ask yourself, what part of my brain is in charge right now? It's that simple. The smart part of your brain is where you learn new things. This is the part of the brain that will help you be strong and make positive decisions. The emotional part is filled with opinions, drama, anger, or hurt. When you let this part of your brain be the boss, you are not going to make positive decisions. The old habit part of your brain is where all those old habits you no longer need are stored. The less you rely on old habits, the more room you will have for the smart part to help you create new positive habits. Review, Boss of My Brain. All you do is ask, what part of my brain is working right now? Am I using my smart part, emotional part, or old habit part? If you ask yourself this question, then you are using the Gogi tool, Boss of My Brain. If you use no other tool, Boss of My Brain is enough for you to be the boss of your life and make the changes that will allow you to enjoy each day a little more. Some Gogi students find it easy to be the boss when they touch their forehead and remind themselves to be smart thinking. From Coach Taylor, Boss of My Brain. When I was explaining how the brain worked to a group of prisoners, one guy spoke up and said, "What you are telling us, Coach, is that I can be the boss of my brain." That was how this tool got its name. Every one of the Gogi tools was developed by men and women who had struggled many years and had made decisions which hurt them and others. In listening to them, it was easy to see they wanted to make the choices leading to a positive life. They just didn't have the tools. In developing the tools, they discovered they can change and make that change last. After more than a decade of working with men and women and children in prisons or trapped inside a prison of their own mind, I have come to realize that the Gogi tool, Boss of My Brain, can unlock even the most stubborn of prison doors. When all of life's events are filtered through this tool, any individual, and I do mean any individual, has the power to control and direct their reactions and responses. Life might not be fair, but Boss of My Brain sure puts you in the driver's seat. Thoughts from Coach Lee Carlson. Coach Lee Carlson was appointed as Gogi's National Director of Programs and Media in 2013, after 4 years of nearly full-time volunteerism for Gogi. In her current volunteer position, she is responsible for coordinating with institutions of corrections as they implement Gogi into their programming. In each chapter, she will provide insights on her perspective into maximizing the Gogi tools for positive decision making. I am boss of my brain. Say that to yourself. I am boss of my brain. A powerful realization for me in my life was how I relate to my brain and how I choose to process thoughts and information is 100% up to me. When I first realized that I am the boss of my brain, it immediately gave me a positive sense of self-control and confidence I had been lacking my entire life. I always thought others made me think, feel, speak, and act a certain way. They made me do it. They made me feel this way. No one made me feel or do anything. I am in control. I can choose to think a positive thought or feel a certain way, regardless of others' opinions or actions. This simple yet profound fact propelled me into a life where my decisions are filtered through a powerful brain capable of handling even the most difficult situations. Going inside prisons and jails, you meet a lot of people who do not think they are in control. They have given their control over because they are physically incarcerated. They are in prison physically and mentally. What Boss of My Brain says is that you can be locked up, you can be told what to do, where to stand, when to sleep, and where to eat. But you cannot ever be told what to think while doing so. Your thoughts and how you choose to view a situation is entirely up to you. You choose. You are the boss. No one else dictates how you think, feel, or act. That's all you. Boss of My Brain in action. It was a Wednesday evening at Men's Colony Jail in Los Angeles where there was a weekly Gogi group being held. One of the group's facilitators was running late, having just returned from court. When he arrived, he joined the group, sitting quietly and listening to his peers share about their use of that week's tool. When it was the facilitator's turn to share his thoughts, he informed the men that his trial had ended that afternoon. The defense and prosecution had offered their closing statements that day. He said, "I heard things said about me today that I have never heard. They said things about me that I cannot repeat. The things they called me, the type of man they told the jury and the court that I am, it was incredibly difficult to hear those things about myself." He cleared his throat, got choked up a bit, and sat up straight in his chair and said, "I'm telling you guys, if I didn't have Gogi and did not know that I am the boss of my brain, I would not have been able to take that. I could not have heard those things and not wanted to react with my emotional part and old habit part. But I sat there. I remembered I am boss of my brain. I know better. I am better today. I can do better today. I am not what they say I am. I know who I am today." Simply, Boss of My Brain gave this Gogi student his power. He was in control of how he chose to process information and opinions and how he chose to perceive the world around him, regardless of the negative thoughts or feelings towards him. Gogi for Life, Coach Carlson. From Coach Taylor, Boss of My Brain. In working with tens of thousands of men and women who have studied Gogi, what I have discovered and what the Gogi students tell me is that Gogi is the most effective when studied in a group. This group can be as small as 2 people, but Gogi works best when you can share it, discuss it, support it within your family and with your friends. Gogi is a way of life more than it is a program or a class. It is a way of living.